Would y'all get the chip? Like the Neuralinks? Because think about it, like there's going to be people out here that are doing that. They're going to be smarter than us. You know, they're going to be able to break things down faster than us in order to keep up. If you know that majority of the population is getting this Neuralink or whatever it's going to be, and we grew up in the era where we was, what you mean chips, put chips in the babies and all that. We was against that. Would you do that?
Would you do it?
I don't know. I really don't know.
That's
honest,
the
I don't
thing
know.
too. That's my answer as well. I don't know.
Yo,
when I first heard about it, I'm like, hell no. But then with all the movies I watch and shit, everything that they're clearly putting in front of us because they know we just gonna think it's a movie. Nah. Like I really don't know.
Yo, they got the glasses now. They got the prompters in them. People, you can be debating with somebody and they killing you with face. Like,
well, the Neuralink thing is so interesting because it's like, but people that don't know, that's Elon Musk's company and. They already have paraplegics that can move now, and people moving chess pieces with their brain. So my thing is like even for languages, right? Like imagine if you can download every single language in your brain. So you go to France and now you speak fluent French. That's helpful. Or you go to Mexico and now you speak fluent Spanish, right? Like
Jess.
I want to start off by giving all honor, glory, and praise unto the Heavenly Father, whose true name is Yahweh, and his only begotten Son, who the world calls Jesus Christ. His true and only name is Yahweh Shai. I wanted to make a quick video, a brief video, Lord willing, off of this clip I seen on Instagram. And a few of the brothers have been making videos off of this clip on Breakfast Club, Shalakia, where Charlemagne and the other, I guess, cast that are on there, the other people that are on there, they're speaking about the Neuralink. And if I'm not mistaken, a couple of weeks back, Elon Musk had put out a statement along with some updates on some of the, I guess, test subjects, because that's really what they are. But some of the people that received the Neuralink in their brains, they had kind of gave out updates and, they were on TV talking about everything went well and how it's changed their lives. And, pretty much these are the pseudo miracles that are spoken about in Revelations 19 and 20, which is what I'm about to read. But these are the miracles that ultimately is going to be deceiving Jake into taking his chip, because, of course, Esau's not going to go around telling everybody that, hey, this mark of the beast, we want to give it to y'all so that we can control y'all, and that we can bring about this new world order. They're not going to go around telling you that. They're going to deceive you. They're going to lie. They're going to make it seem like, oh, it's for the better. It's for the good. We're doing this for the better of humanity and to further, human capabilities and give people the ability to, like what they were mentioning in the clip, speak different languages and can better communicate with each other and have better, what's the word? Like have a stronger brain capacity, maybe a better memory. Somebody that has Alzheimer's, though, this will fix that. If you're paraplegic, or if you're paralyzed, or I don't know, if your legs don't work anymore, this will fix that. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're gonna try to showcase with this Neuralink and to deceive the world into taking it ultimately. So I'm gonna go ahead and start reading. This is Revelations 19 and 20. It says, "And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone." And this lake of fire burning with brimstone is going to be America when the Lord returns. This is what Christians like to refer to as hell. It's not going to be a place underground where you burn for all eternity. It's going to be right here on the planet, right here on this earth that we stand on. It's going to be here primarily in America. You see what I'm saying? So, and you know what? Let me just go ahead and finish this out. It says, "And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse," and that's speaking about Yahweh Shai, "which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh." And that's speaking about the aftermath of Babylon being destroyed. The fowls, that's going to be like the birds, like crows and ravens, and what are those giant birds, vultures, that are going to be eating on the carcasses, of the dead. Whatever's remaining here in this wasteland, that's what them creatures is going to be feasted on. You see what I'm saying? Because unlike what IUIC teaches, or at least what they were teaching, a few months back, there was a camp saying that the earth is going to be blown to bits. The whole earth is just going to go out in a bang. That's not true, because the scripture says that the earth abideth forever. That's why it's talking about this. But yeah, I want to go into Revelations 13 and 16 though, nevertheless, to break down what the mark of the beast is. Let's see, 13 and 16. All right, so here's Revelations 13 and 16. It says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads." Okay, so I'm gonna stop right there. Emphasis on the small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. It does not matter who you are. This is when they're going to slack it. They're going to equal the playing field. Shall I say? They're going to try to level everybody out to where, okay, you're faced with an option, no matter if you're up there and you got all this money, you're a celebrity, or if you're, lower class, you got a 9-to-5, or maybe you're homeless. You're going to be forced to with this decision. Ultimately, everybody's going to face it. There's no getting around it. You see what I'm saying? If you have all that money, you're going to have to either, if you want to keep your comfortability, your comfort, you're going to have to take this mark. You're going to have to take that chip. And maybe for the homeless, they're going to try to incentivize them to, hey, if you take this chip, we'll give you this bonus, or we'll give you this, or we'll give you this, this package where you can live here, there, and the third. And if you're just a regular guy like me, you're going to be forced to, hey, once again, if you want to be able to keep the car that you have and still be able to pay your bills, or to take care of your duties, or pay for gas or groceries, you have to take this mark, and in verse 17, it's going to go into buying or selling. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it says, and that no man might buy or sell, save that he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So when it goes into, again, buy or sell, that's a huge, what's the word? Clue, I guess you can say. That's a huge clue right there of what it's talking about. That automatically marks out a lot of these false doctrines out there that are taught by some of these other camps. That automatically crosses that out when it's going into buying or selling. Even in today's society, what proves that is like the other week, Shalaki, I'm over here trying to adjust this my TV. But the other week I went into the store for lunch. I went to like a Tom Thumb or whatever, and I grabbed like a little sandwich or something. And when I went to ring it up, I was going through the self-checkout, and I'm reaching for my wallet, and I realized, damn, I forgot my wallet in the car. So I'm like, damn, like, I'm low-key like, dang, this, I don't really feel like walking back over to the section, putting it back, and going in, or, telling the little lady there, hey, like, you mind holding this while I run to the, I didn't feel like doing that, you know what I'm saying? And, but I was like, damn, I kind of looked at her. I was like, hey, I forgot my wallet. Like, could I leave this here? And she's like, oh, we got, we have Apple Pay. Like, we have Apple Pay now, or you could just use your phone if you have your cards on your phone. And I'm like, oh, shoot, like, that's right, because I have forgot about that. And I don't really use that feature too often. So that's what I did. I took out my phone, tapped the little, chip reader, and boom, paid for it instantly. It's like, that same technology is what's going to be used to be inserted in us for that convenience. That same chip technology, the same one that before that option, it was in the card, which was a newer thing. They gradually, introduced you to this mark, you know, up until the point where we're at, to where they're about to introduce you to the full on image of the beast and the full thing, you know, because we went from cash to them saying, hey, well, you could either do cash or card. And then, you know, it was a swipe. Okay, instead of swiping, you insert the chip. Okay, instead of inserting the chip, now you can just tap it on the screen. Instead of tapping on the screen, now you can just pull out your phone. And instead of pulling out your phone, you could just scan your hand. Like, you see how it just gradually, you know, it slowly but surely brought us to the point where we're at to today. You know what I'm saying? So, and then verse 18, I'm going to finish this down and then I'm going to break down this word too, the mark. So it says, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. You see what I'm saying? So, okay, so we're going to go up to 16. So, like, yeah, let's see. We're going to go down to Mark. Yep, right here. And it should be Karagma. Yep. Oops, Slakia. I didn't mean to do that. All right, so let me try that again. Mark, boom. All right. Strong's G 54 and 80 is Karagma.
Strong's G 5480. Charagma.
You know, you put a little bit of spin on that. But so root word, it says or outline of biblical usage, a stamp, an imprinted mark. It's going to be something that's imprinted in you. It's going to be put inside of you, inserted. Of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as a badge of followers of the Antichrist. So too, there was a lot of confusion that I used to hear, like first coming into the truth, you know, from these other camps, of course, like regarding the forehead or the right hand. And it's kind of obvious now, you know, especially with Neuralink being like a mainstream thing, you know, which is what they were talking about in the video. When it comes to the forehead, I speak as a man, but I believe that's mainly going to just be like for people that have disabilities, you know. I mean, I'm sure Jake is still going to be, you know, they're probably going to still end up implementing that on, you know, most people too. But I think in terms of getting that chip implanted in your brain, that's going to be mostly for people that have different medical issues that Elon finds a way to deceive the public and say that, oh, you know, this chip will fix that, you know. So maybe people that have speech impediments or people that have, I don't know, a memory problem, or, you know, maybe they have a problem with their vision or something like that, you know, some type of disability that's making them handicapped, you know, or something like that. Then they would kind of go ahead and get that Neuralink or that chip put in their head. But for the most people that don't really need a reason for that, it's just going to be, you know, across the board, you're going to have to get this chip in your hand, regardless of if you got a disability or not, you know. And that's when it goes into that stamp being in your right hand as a badge of the followers of the Antichrist. So, but I'm going to continue. It says the mark branded upon horses, thing carved, sculpture, graven work, of idolatrous images. So keyword carved, sculptured, it's gonna be cut, you know, it's gonna be into you. And what proves that? So you gotta dive into this. You can't just read mark and stop there and like take a a wild guess, make a hypothesis on what you think it is. No, you gotta actually go deep into what it is, you know, and pull up some of these definitions. So if you go to the Strong's definition, let's see. It says from the same as Strong's G5482, a scratch or etching, you know, i.e. a stamp, you know. And so when you go into that scratch or etching, so like, yeah, I'm gonna be getting ads and stuff on my TV. All right, my fault. Strong's G54 and 82, we get Karax.
Strong's G 5482. Kharaks. Kharaks.
You know, with a little tongue roll. It says from Carazo, to sharpen, to a point, akin to, you know, through the idea of scratching. And then you go to outline of biblical use, a pale or a stake, a palisade. And if you look up what a stake is, you know, or, you know, a stake is a pointed edge, which is what you see at the very tip of a syringe. And of course, if you could pull it up, you know, Lord willing, I'm gonna go back and edit and put up a picture of it. But there's a specific image, and it shows you the tip of the syringe that they're gonna use to put that chip into you. And it's already a thing because they implant chips in dogs. They've been doing it for a long time. You see what I'm saying? They put a chip into it. You can go get your dog chipped and have like a tracker in him in case he ever gets lost or whatever. They can find him. It's the same thing. It's the same ordeal. It's a needle, and there's a very, very fine hole at the very end of that needle, in which they push out that little grain of rice. You see what I'm saying? And that's the MOTB. Of course, I'm not saying your dog got the MOTB, but it's the same concept. You see what I'm saying? With that RFID chip that they're going to be putting inside of humans. So, yep. Let me keep going down. The Strong's definition. So, we just had Karax. Let's see. Let's go to Strong's G11 and 25. It says, through the idea of scratching, a stake, i.e. by implication, a palisade or a rampart. Okay, that goes into a trench, but let's get this word right here. Grapho.
Strong's G 1125. Grapho. Grapho.
Yep. So if you go to outline of biblical usage, it says to write with reference to the form of letters, to delineate letters on a tablet, parchment, paper, or other material, to express in written characters, to commit to writing. Pretty much this is going to be like how, first off, every human is born with the, I ain't gonna say you're born with it, but when you're born in these American hospitals, they give you a social security number. You see what I'm saying? If you go to a store and you pick up any item, it has a barcode, or a serial number. That's what these numbers are going to go into, in terms of like the number of man. You're pretty much going to be an item. You're going to be like cattle. Cattle's have when they're branded, they if I'm not mistaken, have like serial numbers and not serial numbers, Slakia, but numbers that differentiate them from each other, so that's what we're coming into. Let's see if it has anything else down here. Yeah, so that's it on that. But you know what? I'm gonna get the definition of 666. So let's see. If we go down here, Strong's G55 and 16. Let's see if I can get this pronunciation correct. I think it's like Chai stigma.
Strong's G 5516. Chai, Ksai, stigma. Chai, Ksai, stigma.
All right, so it's more so like Kai. Okay. But yeah, let's see what that means in the Greek. Is 666, and then it says basis of much vain speculation. Nah, it's not. This ain't a speculation. This is what it is. Through faith, we very much know what it is, But yeah, It says at the bottom here, it says used as numbers denoting respectively 660 and 6. Yep. And there's another word in here, stigma, that I wanted to get. I believe it's let's see, 1125. Is it 1125? No, it's this word here. I'm tripping. Yeah, stigma.
Strong's G 4742. Stigma. Stigma.
Yeah, and it says from a primary stezo to stick, i.e. prick. You could drop the mic right there. To stick or prick. How is this talking about white women? I'm going to move on. It says, outline of biblical usage. A mark pricked in or branded upon the body, to ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their master or commander branded or pricked, cut into their bodies. Please explain to me how you're like anything else makes sense. There's so many false doctrines that have sprung out of the mark of the beast just from IUIC alone, let alone some of these other camps. Shalakia, I just seen this dude run. I got my blinds open. I just seen this dude run across the field with a bouquet of flowers. It's 7:42 right now. This dude must have just got caught. Shalakia. That just completely threw me off. I've never seen this dude in my life. All right, Shalakia. That was different. All right, so into their bodies to indicate what master or generally, to indicate what master or general they belong to. That's why it says that, I don't know if it was in verse 19 or if it was in Revelations 19 and 20, but in one of them scriptures I read earlier, it went into how you're pretty much bowing down, like you're serving yourself. You're bowing down to the image of the beast. You're proclaiming Esau pretty much as your God. By doing so, by taking his mark. You're taking his branding, his Babylonian branding. And that's why it's like idolatrous in a way, because you're allowing that to happen. You see what I'm saying? You're not fighting it. You're just going with it. And for what? The scripture tells you what's going to happen. So, but yeah, it says, and there were even some devotees who stamped themselves in this way with the token of their gods. So you see, and I'm going to read the Strong's definition of this, stigma, a mark incised or punched for recognition of ownership, figuratively scar, service, mark. Ownership, you'll be owned. You will literally, Shlakia, I should receive the phone call. But you'll be owned after you receive that branding from Esau, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it was Klaus Schwab, that wicked ass nigga. He said a lot of stuff, but so it probably was him. But if it wasn't, Shlakia, one of them elites pretty much said that humans will become hackable devices, pretty much. Humans will become hackable. How do you think they're going to do that? Off of this device right here that we're speaking about. That's finna come to pass. And that's finna be pushed upon this whole earth. But yeah, I don't want to, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. But even as you can see in the clip, they were sitting around literally considering it. And that goes to show you that a lot of people, you got prideful Christians. And I do believe that there's going to be a lot of people who even people of other nations that are going to try to rebel against it. But even they themselves will end up folding in the end if the Lord's not with them, But it just goes to show you that, like, all them people that are prideful, that will sit around and be like, oh yeah, I ain't taking it. I know I ain't gonna take it. I'm saved. I ain't gonna blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, it's the will of the Lord. Now through faith, I believe, through faith, I believe the Lord, will keep me, from taking it. And I pray that he keeps me in the faith, and he keeps me, I pray. I pray that same prayer for all my brothers out there, and all the men and women in the faith. You see what I'm saying? I pray, and it's our duty to be building up our faith now so that we can pass that test, but to make it seem like, oh, it's gonna be a simple thing, like, nah, like, shoot, I just don't take it easy. You can't say that, because people are already, it ain't even been pushed upon people like that, and people are already on major talk shows and radios talking about, shoot, I don't know, I don't know, I used to say no to it, but I don't know, I might. You see that? It ain't even the hour of temptation yet. You know what I'm saying? It's still smooth sails right now, for the most part. The waters are getting a little choppy, but it's still smooth right now. I mean, you still can whip out cash, in certain places. But yeah, with that, I'm going to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. I pray this lesson was edifying. And shalom.